Hey, deserving listeners, Love is Blind, Season 5. Let's check it out.
I didn't tell you a single thing about Lydia at all, right?
100%.
I didn't say anything about our relationship, and she was on the other side, like getting in Aaliyah's head, like, oh, this is what Uche looks like, this is what car he drives, this is what I bought for his dog, this and this and...
Yeah, but he doesn't know what was exactly happening, or I don't think he does. And at least we have some of the footage. We only see a little bit of their interactions, but I think it sounds like Uche is painting it like that Lydia was undermining him. If anything, Lydia was being a very good wingman and friend for Uche. There were some moments where there was seemingly communication from Lydia in the other direction, but to my eyes and my memory, Lydia was actually helping in a lot of ways. And given how Lydia feels about Uche, at least in the past, you can imagine that would, that'd be hard to do, right? And especially given what at least Lydia believes to be wrong with Uche, that she didn't seemingly say anything. She certainly didn't indicate everything that she could have said, right?
So it told me that she was still like upset about how things like ended between us. And what I was doing is just trying to be the nice guy and be like, okay, it's me, not you. I can literally read you the...
Okay, so like before, I don't know what Uche's mission, what is his goal? Is he looking to Milton for validation? Is he trying to break up Milton and Lydia? Is he just trying to be a good friend? Okay, but why are you telling all these things? How is it relevant exactly? And Milton is being a good friend or a de-escalator. That's the way I see Milton, is he's just like, look, if I need to sit here with Uche and talk with him, then to help the overall situation, then I'll do that. And I just know that I'm not gullible, and I will sit here and I'll listen, but I'll take it with a grain of salt, and then we'll be done, and then we'll move on. So I think that's, and given Milton's face right now, I think that's what he's thinking.
Last text message I ever sent her, I said, you're an amazing person. Don't change for anybody. I just think that it's not going to work out between us. But that wasn't honest, right? There were some things that happened in a relationship. I felt like early on, she was a little bit dishonest with me. And
I'm going to take a guess and say that both Uche and Lydia are used to that level of what some people would call toxicity, what I might call conflict and resentment towards each other, because the kinds of things that we heard that they were saying in the last episode about each other was pretty severe. And to, one, be able to go back to that person repeatedly, and two, to frame it like it was normal. I'm just thinking from my personal experience, if I were in a relationship that even had an ounce of the amount of conflict that they seemingly had over time, it would be very hard for me to say, that the relationship was wonderful and that she was really great. I mean, maybe I would think deep down, but especially if it being so fresh, I think I would just say, I can't talk about it. So some people are, and I might be at one end of the spectrum on the other side. Some people are, and for better or for worse, right? That some people are accustomed to that, or they're okay with it. They roll with the punches, sort of a thing. But of course, I think what it might point to is that for Uche and Lydia, they come from situations or in the past relationships where that was normalized and common.
Just the way that she just like boldly lied to my face with no remorse, I'm like, I don't think I can trust this person.
Hey, babe.
Can you let me have a conversation with my friend? Hey,
Come with me quick.
can I get 5 minutes?
No.
Okay. So I understand Lydia's motivation. I think she doesn't want Uche to infect Milton's brain. And there's reasons to believe that Uche would be able to do that given his abilities with rhetoric. I don't know if that's... he's not awful at being able to convince people of things, his profession, that kind of stuff. But so Lydia's motivated in that way, maybe. But or maybe even just out of care for Milton. It's like, no, Uche, you're not going to do this to him. You're not going to corner him. Milton, you can leave. Come on, let's go. But then, fine. But Milton then says, give me 5 minutes. And then she says, no. What? He's like, can I just talk to my friend? Now, I suppose Lydia could say, you can't be friends with him. That's just the way that it is. Okay. But this is furthering their problem that she has been really highlighting is their age difference, in that she's essentially coming to corral her teenage son and saying, no, you can't talk to that person, right? And then saying, no, I don't know. It's if I were a birdie on her shoulder, I would say, like, you can trust Milton. He can handle his own. He doesn't seem like the sort of person that would just believe everything that Uche says. In fact, I think Milton has a pretty firm, but I don't know, maybe he doesn't. And so just let it play out. Uche probably won't stop until he gets these things across to Milton one way or the other. It might as well happen now. Milton is requesting that this happen. So, just let it happen. But okay.
Let him have 5 minutes. Hey, don't let her control you. You're going to let her come in between your friends?
Milton.
Hey.
No, Milton.
Trust me.
Milton.
Trust me.
Milton.
Right. So Milton is like, trust me. I got it. It's okay. Now maybe Milton could say, honey, I'm not gullible. I'll take everything he says with the word of great salt. Also, I just feel like this has to happen. He really wants to get things across to me. It'll be fine. I'll tell you everything he says when we get back to the room. Just let me talk with him. But she is doing that thing that we saw with Lydia, where it's like, look at me. No, it's real bulldozery, right?
Here's the thing. I'm like, you put us in this situation because I found out that she knew I was being cast for the experiment.
Does he know that? Does he have data? I think we would have heard that from him. How does he know that? Does he have data? And then we're seeing Johnny react. I thought she was yawning at first, but I think she's gasping. Yeah, that's a gasper for sure. For us, it's not so much a gasper because we've been mulling that over as a possibility for a while. But for Johnny, yeah, this would be brand new information and would be shocking. Yeah.
On this experiment together.
Is your face okay?
Hold on. She blocked. Hold on. She blocked my Instagram.
So what? Stacy says, is your face okay? What? Okay. Why are you, one, interrupting Uche, who is dominating right now, by the way? I think Uche, at least the way he operates, I think he is a verbal processor and really needs to do that. But at the same time, Uche, like, everyone's trying to just have a good time. Why are you holding court, if you will, and just dominating? Now, maybe the production said, we want this to happen. Who knows? But I'd be pretty annoyed if I was one of these folks. I'd be like, okay, Uche, speed it up. Let's get some bullet points here and let's get the TLDR. Let's move on because we have other things to do than to just listen to you speculate and yammer when I probably suspect that you're biased. I don't know. But anyway, so Johnny has this reaction. She's like, anyways, well, she's not saying anything. She's just like, oh my God. And then Stacy says, is there something wrong with your, did I hear that right?
Wanted us to be on this experiment together.
Is your face okay?
Hold on. She blocked. Hold on. She blocked my Instagram.
Yeah. Is your face okay? Now maybe Stacy will let it go, but that's, it's not the end of the world, but it's not a good look.
Face okay?
Stacy, keep it cool.
At what?
So then she doubles down, is your face okay? And then Izzy is looking at Stacy like, keep your cool. Okay.
Can I finish?
Yeah, but you're looking at me.
Yeah.
I was looking at them.
So Uche's like, can I finish? And Stacy is really going after Johnny. What is Stacy's motivation here? I suppose some people might speculate that Stacy feels threatened by Johnny because most people in Stacy's shoes would feel like, well, I was the one who Izzy is with. I'm the one who Izzy is with. And so I feel bad for you, right? And I don't want to kick you while you're down, kind of a thing. Is Stacy jealous of Johnny and Chris's closeness? is Stacey just this way? Stacey has a legitimate complaint because according to what she has been told, Johnny is this horrific behind-the-scenes conniver who lied to Chris and to Izzy and is... I wonder if Stacey believes that... because we understand that they understand they're on a reality TV show. And there is an old tradition of bullying or scapegoating the villain of the season, right? Every successful reality TV show has this element. And you might think, you imagine there'd be at least thoughts or even conversations amongst themselves about, okay, how do you think the edit's going to be? And you could imagine that Stacey and maybe Izzy as well decided, oh, Johnny's the bad person. She's going to be the villain because of what we know and what we saw. Maybe even production put him up to it. It was like, hey, Johnny's a problem. Feel free to go after her, or who knows. But maybe Stacey, I'm just speculating, but maybe Stacey is just like, because the way she's reacting is similar to other shows where there's this almost, they're just waiting to pounce on one of the cast members that Stacey seems to be doing. But it also kind of looks like Stacey's like legit triggered by Johnny somehow. The other complaint that Stacey legitimately has is that Johnny was, while being broken up with by Izzy and knowing that Stacey is in competition, that Johnny was saying some, pretty ugly things, even after recovering for a bit, which, as I said before, it's understandable that Johnny was going through some stuff, but at the same time, it's not a great thing to just attack someone publicly. It's one thing to think in your head or to write it in your journal. It's another thing, she's saying it to other people, almost trying to get people against Stacey, when at that point, anyway, there wasn't any reason that one should think that Stacey's a bad person, but at least from our standpoint. But anyway, so I'm just trying to figure out doesn't it kind of look like Stacey's actually triggered, that there's some kind of rage going on right now?
And she came in the first day. I don't know which of you girls she told. She was saying, oh, I feel like I'm going to...
And then Uche is just, forging forward, which might be what everyone wants, including Izzy, just be like, just keep going because we got to have them not go at each other because, they were exchanging some words.
Be somebody from my past. Either she found out I was going to be there, or she has supernatural powers that allow her to see into the future.
Yeah. Is that the only two options? Or she randomly went on the show and see, he claims he has data. But if he says either she followed me or she has supernatural powers, unless he's really, really just making a joke, which of course he is at least to some extent, then that points in the direction of he doesn't have data that demonstrates that she actually followed him onto the show.
Oh, what would have been the goal? Did you expect us to end up together? Or were you trying to sabotage my chance of being with somebody? Because if that was her goal, she did it. She ruined anything that me and Aaliyah could have had.
I would say that... who would I blame? Well, one, I would say that they probably weren't compatible in the end anyway, Aaliyah and Uche. There's a lot of reasons to believe that. Also, the circumstance of the production and the fact that they had to lie really threw a wrench in things for Aaliyah. Certainly, Uche didn't help the situation by... but if Uche is... So, he's saying that Lydia drove a wedge between Aaliyah and him. Well... then why did you not listen to Aaliyah when Aaliyah was trying to explain what happened? If he's so interested, if he's so bummed out, that thing, I guess it could be argued he's like, well, Lydia ruined it such that even if I wanted Aaliyah back, it would never have been a good relationship. But that's a very weird perspective, right? So if anything... he just decided she wasn't worth the effort, Aaliyah. I didn't show this in the interview with Aaliyah, but Aaliyah was saying that Uche told Aaliyah that Aaliyah was not his type. And Aaliyah was wondering if Uche was even really attracted to her. So once they met in person, so it's possible that Uche just didn't want to be with her or something, but I don't know. So I'm trying to understand. Again, I'm wondering what his goal is. Is he trying to get everyone against Lydia? Is he looking for validation? What's the point of him making this case?
I kind of want some accountability for what she did to Aaliyah. to follow somebody around and tell them things about me.
Accountability? What I would ask if I were there, okay, what would it look like if Lydia was held accountable? What would that mean? Like, we put her in prison for a year? What's the consequence? Because you're probably not going to get whatever you are hoping for, because the relationship is over and Lydia doesn't agree with what you're saying. So do you want us all just to chant that we hate her? Is that what you're looking for?
Me, like, oh,
That's
Uche.
not how that happened on our
Yeah,
side.
that's not
Well,
how
You're assuming that that's
But
not happening.
I don't think that Lydia wanted me to fall in love and to have a genuine shot
I have
at
to
somebody.
have Lydia.
So this is really weird. Is it that Uche doesn't really believe this and just really wants to have everyone hate Lydia? Is he just trying to perform for the cameras? Or what's going on with his personality here, that he's so determined to twist everything to make Lydia look horrific? I suppose I'll add to the hypothesis list that he was legitimately stalked and harmed, although he could have also been harmful in some ways, but that he felt legitimately powerless and trapped by Lydia's pre-pod behavior. I don't know that, of course, but there's some evidence of that maybe. And he is looking for some validation about that, or feels that he wants some validation for that, but he doesn't know how to articulate it and is going really far with it, especially with people that don't really know the situation, right? We'll add that to the possibility. I could see someone acting this way if they were in that emotional space. But I think another hypothesis that I imagine a lot of people would put out there is that he's trying to get out ahead of what Lydia was saying about him, not because it has any practical value, but he wants to perform for the camera so that he can preserve his image. That's a possibility, and I'd probably put that near the top. That he's kicking into high, because before Lydia and him started fighting and revealing things, and Lydia was pretty reluctant to reveal things, actually. She held back. She didn't mention things that I think she could have, whereas he was pulling out everything, seemingly. So, so before they started fighting, he was content with just saying Lydia's a great person. So clearly he's okay with, all this. And maybe later on things happen where he's like, okay, all bets are off. I suppose he would probably say that. But another possibility is that unless Lydia is outing his side of the story, then he doesn't feel like he cares. But once she starts to raise questions about who he is and his image is being tainted, then he goes into high gear and has to make sure everyone understands. Yeah, it kind of looks that way, right? It's just because I'm going to make sure I'm going to intimidate you and yammer at you to make you understand. Because, I'd say intimidating, because if he sat there and said, well, here's my opinion, but I don't know, what do you guys think? That's not what he's doing. He's dominating. And when the women were saying, that's not really what we saw in the pods, and he's like, he's arguing against it instead of going, well, what do you mean? So he's not there to have a conversation. He's there to litigate.
Lydia's back on this because when Aaliyah was breaking down when she told you about her infidelity and you were kind of like done about it, Lydia sat there comforting her friend that is dating her ex.
But then what did she do after she found out
but that
about
emotion
it?
that she, whenever
Right. So they are saying, look, she was supporting your relationship. I mean, they're not saying that explicitly, but that's kind of what we saw, right? And then Uche, what did Uche say?
But then what did she do after she found out
that
about
emotion
it?
that she, whenever she was comfortable.
That's Uche brings up, okay, well, what did Lydia do later? Yeah, we don't, Uche must be talking about the fight that we didn't get to see. And some people in the comment section were like, maybe it happened in the bathroom, because that's the only place where they can go in the pods and not be filmed. But I wouldn't be surprised if, at the very least, they're still mic'd up in there, right? I don't know. But Uche brings it up, and then Johnny's like, yeah, exactly. So does Johnny have some bone to pick with Lydia? I don't know.
They're holding hands, crying together.
Yeah, that was
telling
before she
us-
found out that we all knew everything, though, right?
No,
That was
she
before.
had known.
Miriam,
she
stop,
had
stop,
known.
stop.
Don't
Let
tell me
Stacey
to stop.
continue.
Don't tell me to
Don't
stop.
tell her.
Wait.
I want to hear what Stacey's
Don't
saying.
tell me to.
Okay, so she was interrupting. it's interrupting is probably a strong word. Uche was, getting information from Stacy and trying to have a conversation with one person. It would be hard to have but the way that Uche was dismissing Miriam was uncool. And now Miriam is standing up for herself, I guess. But I don't know. If I were Miriam, I'd just be like, whatever, I'm going to go over here and do something else.
Stop.
I want to hear what Stacey's
You
saying.
are not going to tell me when to talk and when not to talk.
right,
You keep your toxic
this is done.
masculinity to yourself.
Okay, of course. You got
Yeah, it's a good point that for men to shut women down and go, zip it, lady, is a very common thing that happens a lot in subtle ways and not so subtle ways. So for a woman to say, you're not going to tell me to zip it, pal, that's just not going to happen. I learned long ago that I either fight against it or I suffer from it, and I don't want to do that. So you're not going to do that to me. So, yeah. And given the way Uche is, you could see how that would be valid.
Back off.
Do you want to talk? Because I
if
feel
she
like I
wants
want to hear
talk,
your perspective,
You want to
Stacey.
talk. She wants to talk. You want to talk. Can talk.
Stacey,
here.
can I talk to you? I don't want to
Because
hear
you know
her.
I'll read you for
Miriam's
the filthy
bitter.
one. Of course you don't
She's
want to
bitter.
hear.
Okay, so now she's just really going after him, and Uche is trying to get Stacy alone so he can does he really want Stacy's perspective? I'd be surprised if he did, or if he just wants to convince Stacy. I don't know. I don't understand what his goal is.
Bitter. You are
I'm
so
trying to have a conversation
self-absorbed.
about Lydia. So if y'all want to talk about that,
Nah, it doesn't
Please
matter where
grab
you
that.
go. Yeah, leave. No,
grab a
don't
drink.
call me bitter.
you are
You're
bitter.
so pathetic.
You're bitter and you're
saying
fake.
all the nonsense you
You're
said,
bitter
but
and
you
you're
can't
fake.
say it to my.
So now they're just yelling at each other. You're bitter, you're fake, you're narcissistic, or what'd she say, arrogant or something. So, okay. I don't know where he's coming from, or do they have a history together? Is that what's happening?
Where do you live at? Do you live in Saudi Arabia? Do you
I
live
live
in
in
Houston?
Saudi Arabia
Do you have a
and
job? Do you
Houston.
have a not
I
job? Do you not have a
fucking job.
job?
Do you want? Wait. Can you believe this?
Wait, what's happening? I do seem to remember Miriam. In fact, I took notes on Miriam because we saw a bit of her in the very beginning. 31, scientist, born and raised in Nigeria, is in my notes. I think that's accurate. Works in academia in the Middle East, so Saudi Arabia sounds like, but moving back soon is what she was saying. She has a skincare business, but she was vague about it. She was vague about her business. Yeah, in the pods, she was being asked, like, what do you do? And she's like, well, let's just call it a skincare business. And I don't know if that was what it was, but I remember thinking, what was that about? And then we never saw Miriam again. So was Miriam one of the folks that actually, went on to the next phase, and Uche and Miriam have this whole history? Because it sounds like Uche knows a lot about her.
This guy.
Do you have a business? Do you not have a business? Do you have a boyfriend? Do you not have a boyfriend?
Wait. No. Come, no,
Hey,
wait. No,
you're here for the.
So I think Uche is talking about maybe that discrepancy of, so do you have a business or do you not? The way you talk about it, and now she feels like she has to defend herself. Okay.
Hold on. I'm here for
That's
the
the only
cameras.
thing you're here
No,
for.
come back
You're
here.
so
Let me answer your
fake.
questions. Yes, I work in Saudi Arabia. Yes, I have a fucking degree from Johns Hopkins University. You can look that up. You want to talk about who's here for the cameras? I'm not Lydia or Aaliyah. You're not going to make me cry. I'll read you for the filthy.
Yeah, and the bigotry that I'm guessing she has experienced, and racism and sexism, as a successful black woman, you can imagine that Miriam has been dismissed by a lot of people, a lot of men, and is like, I am not gonna let that happen. So I'm gonna stand up for myself. I don't know if that's where it's coming from, but we could imagine, right?
Loser.
Miriam, take a breath. He's not worth your time.
At the same time, yeah, it's like, don't let him get under your skin. He is who he is. Just, you're better than that or something. I don't know. It depends, right? Because on some level, it's a privileged thing to say, to tell someone like, let it go. Like, what's the big deal? when you don't know where someone's coming from, like Miriam. I don't know anything about Miriam. I just have what's in my notes here. So you know, you don't want to just impose that privilege on someone and act like, why are you freaking out? Also, it's possible that it might be better for Miriam if she, quote unquote, lets it go. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm proud of you for speaking your mind. Like, he's walking away looking at his phone. He doesn't care.
Yeah, because he has nothing to say because he's a freaking coward.
He wants to portray me as crazy. Go ahead.
Well, that's the definition of a narcissist.
You're basically telling me like I'm a liar.
Depending on what you mean by narcissist, I suppose. But I would be really curious if we cobbled together even a so-called consensus on the internet as to what a narcissist is. I wonder how many constructs of psychology are subsumed underneath that definition. But at least we're hearing from somebody, I think it was Stacy, that the definition of a narcissist is trying to convince other people that you're their problem. Like, huh? Anyway.
No one should be able to disrespect me the way I do this. Yeah. No one. I am thriving and I am happy and I'm in love with my fiance.
Yes.
And that's bothering him. He is not worth it.
Who wants more drink?
Oh, I guess we could add that to the motivation for Uche, is that he is jealous or bothered. He doesn't want to lose Lydia. It's hard to visualize because we haven't seen any motivation of Uche towards Lydia. It seemed like he was very much done with her, but it wouldn't be unusual for someone, even if they consciously don't want to be with someone, to still have those feelings. Yeah, I don't know. I still think the way it looks is Uche is trying to salvage his image.
What do y'all want? I just need to like get off this couch.
So I'm confused. I know the situation.
All right, well, let's adjourn there. And everyone, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.